be completely honest, I never really gave much thought to my boss's wife. She was always there, a familiar figure at company events and the rare meetings we had, yet I never truly noticed her presence. Eleanor Harris, affectionately known as Ellie, was one of those individuals who seemed to exist solely within the confines of her professional life, rarely crossing the threshold into the personal realm of thought and feeling. In her early 40s, she radiated a quiet elegance, sharp and composed, with a beauty that effortlessly drew the gaze of those around her without ever seeking the spotlight. It was on that fateful late Thursday evening that everything transformed forever. I found myself lingering at the office, long after the usual hours, pouring my heart into finishing up tasks before the weekend embraced me. The week had dragged on endlessly, and the last place I wanted to find myself was here. Yet, with deadlines looming ominously, I knew I had no choice but to face the inevitable. The office was enveloped in a haunting silence, a stillness that sent shivers down the spine. The silence had become a familiar companion in the late hours, yet the haunting emptiness stirred a deep sense of unease within me. When my phone buzzed, I was caught off guard, not anticipating anything extraordinary to unfold. A message arrived from a number I didn't recognize. I stole a fleeting look at the screen. The message was brief yet profound. "Hi Jack, it's Ellie reaching out. I just wanted to reach out and see how you're doing. How is everything unfolding for you? It's been quite a long week, hasn't it?" Initially, I believed it was just a misunderstanding. It was a surprise to receive a message from Ellie, as we had only ever communicated through work emails. I couldn't help but wonder why she would choose to reach out to me, of all people. My thoughts spiraled in a desperate search for understanding. Perhaps she had unintentionally sent me a message meant for someone else. Yet, the message felt far from being a mere mistake. It felt deliberate, as if every moment was crafted with purpose. For a fleeting moment, I found myself caught in a web of uncertainty before I finally mustered the courage to respond. She was the wife of my boss. Yes, I crossed paths with her a few times, but we never truly formed a deep connection. Yet, I found myself typing a response, striving to keep my tone light and carefree. "Hey Ellie, I'm managing okay. I'm simply striving to make it through this week. What about you? How are you feeling?" I pressed send and leaned back in my chair, a whirlwind of uncertainty swirling within me as I grappled with the weight of the moment. My phone buzzed once more, almost as if it couldn't wait to share its news. "I feel the same way. I can hardly wait for the weekend to arrive. I just wanted to take a moment to connect with you. I see the effort you've been putting in, and it truly matters." Her choice of words struck a chord within me, causing me to stop and reflect. It felt deeply personal. It feels almost too intimate for just a casual office encounter. Yet, I chose to push it aside. Perhaps she was simply trying to be kind. Perhaps feeling a touch of restlessness. No matter what, I wasn't going to let myself overthink it. We exchanged messages for a little while longer, primarily discussing work, nothing out of the ordinary. She inquired about a project that had been consuming my thoughts, and I shared the latest developments with her. Yet, just as the conversation began to fade, she sent another message that resonated with a deeper emotion. "Jack, I hope this doesn't sound strange, but I've been carrying a heavy heart lately. Sometimes, with all that's happening at home, it can feel utterly overwhelming. I hope it's okay for me to share this, but I truly feel the need for someone to confide in." In that moment, everything became clear. Deep down, I had always sensed that her marriage with Mr. Harris felt achingly distant. Yet, I found myself lost, unsure of how to navigate these overwhelming feelings. What was I meant to express? I felt completely lost, overwhelmed by the unexpected situation, especially since it was coming from my boss's wife. Yet, there was an undeniable authenticity in her vulnerability that resonated deeply. I chose to reply with a warm and encouraging message, aiming for a balance of neutrality and friendliness. "I completely understand that feeling. Life has a way of surprising us with unexpected challenges. If you ever feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, know that I'm right here, ready to listen." In that moment, a wave of regret washed over me. What was I even doing? She was bound in marriage, and I found myself in the service of her husband. This felt like a violation, even though I hadn't truly crossed any boundaries just yet. Yet, her next message arrived almost instantly, and I found myself unable to turn away from it. "Thank you so much, Jack. It truly holds immense significance. There are moments when I can't help but long for a different reality. Do you understand? I don't want to keep you from your important work any longer. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." I lingered in silence, my gaze fixed on my phone, lost in thought. What just unfolded before me? Could it be true that she had just opened up and shared something so deeply personal with me? But why is that? I felt like I was just a fleeting shadow in her world. I never imagined she was merely being friendly. There was a deeper layer to this, and I found myself struggling to make sense of it all. The hours slipped away in a haze, and as I stepped out of the office, my mind was consumed by the weight of the messages. I was completely unaware of the path that lay ahead, yet one truth stood out vividly. This had transformed into something far more significant than a mere casual exchange. A change had occurred, and I felt a deep uncertainty about whether I could ever restore it to its rightful place. As I shut my laptop, a wave of contemplation washed over me, and I made my way home, my mind swirling with unspoken emotions. The days that followed were transformed, as if a delicate veil had been gently drawn aside, revealing a deeper connection between Ellie and me. Every night, we found ourselves lost in a flurry of messages, our conversations evolving beyond the confines of work, weaving a deeper connection between us. In the beginning, it barely registered in my mind. It seemed like a gentle escape, a soothing balm for the weary soul after the long, taxing hours spent at the office. But soon, it became evident that Ellie was yearning for something deeper than mere casual conversation. On that fateful Tuesday, she spoke for the first time about her marriage. After another grueling late shift at the office, I found myself staring at my overflowing inbox, too drained to even contemplate opening a single email. As I was lost in the sea of reports, my phone suddenly buzzed, pulling me back to reality with a message from Ellie. To my astonishment, I felt an undeniable urge to dive into it without a moment's pause. "Hey Jack, I've been doing a lot of deep thinking lately. There's something deep within me that compels me to share my truth with you." I gazed at the screen, lost in thought for a fleeting moment. The way she expressed it sent my heart into a wild flutter. Was she on the verge of sharing something truly significant with me? I paused my work, allowing my attention to drift toward the screen, captivated by what lay before me. "I've been feeling so incredibly lonely," she continued. "I'm not sure if I've ever shared this with you, but my husband has always felt so far away from me. He's consumed by work, but lately, it feels as though he's emotionally distant, as if he's completely disengaged. We've grown so distant, and it feels almost impossible to even bring it up with him. It may seem irrational, but there are moments when I long to be seen by him, to break through the veil of invisibility that surrounds me." Her words struck me with an overwhelming force. This had transformed into something far more significant than a mere exchange of words. She was revealing her innermost self, sharing fragments of her soul that left me questioning whether I was worthy of such intimacy. Yet, as I absorbed her words, a profound change stirred within me. A wave of sympathy washed over me, and an unexpected warmth filled my heart at the thought that she chose to confide in me. Though I had encountered stories of troubled marriages before, Ellie's situation struck a different chord within me. She was more than just a voice of frustration regarding her partner. She was a soul deeply burdened, and I could sense the heavy emotional weight it was placing on her heart. I replied with a sense of hesitation. "Ellie, my heart aches to hear that. I can hardly fathom the depth of that experience. I need you to understand that you are never alone, all right? I'm always here for you, ready to listen whenever you need me." After what felt like an eternity, her response finally arrived. "Thank you so much, Jack. Your kindness means the world to me. Your kindness means the world to me, more than you could ever know. I feel utterly exhausted from putting on a brave face and pretending that everything is okay when deep down, it's far from it. I feel lost and uncertain about what to do next. As I absorbed her words, a profound wave of empathy washed over me, connecting me to her experience in a deeply personal way. It pained me to see her suffering, and deep down, I longed to comfort her, to whisper that everything would be all right, even though I felt utterly lost on how to mend the situation. It broke my heart to realize that I couldn't mend her marriage, and I felt powerless to assure her that her life would transform for the better in an instant. Yet, I could stand by her side. I would be here to listen. That was everything I had to give, and oddly, it felt like it was just what was needed. As I sat there, fingers poised over the keyboard, ready to craft my response, another message from her suddenly appeared, pulling me into a whirlwind of emotions. I may have mentioned this before, but I truly find it so comforting to talk to you. There are so few people I can truly count on, and when I share my thoughts with you, I feel a comforting absence of judgment. It's as if you truly understand me in a way that no one else does. I was at a loss for words in that moment. One part of me was filled with a sense of honor, yet another part wrestled with a deep discomfort. The warmth of our friendly exchange had faded, leaving behind something far more profound. This was something profound, something intimate, and it was beginning to intertwine the boundaries between the professional and the personal. I needed to tread lightly. She remained bound in marriage, while I continued to serve her husband. I inhaled deeply, striving to maintain a calm and composed response. I'm truly relieved to hear that, Ellie, but I know you're facing a really difficult time, and I want to be respectful of your space. Having someone who truly listens during tough times is so incredibly important. Her response came in a heartbeat. Your kindness means so much to me, Jack. I truly do. I suppose. Sometimes, I find myself lost in thoughts, yearning for a glimpse of what could have been, questioning if I'm chasing shadows of a reality that may never exist. As I read her message, a profound sense of unease enveloped me, leaving my heart heavy. What was it that she was desperately trying to convey? Could this be a subtle clue? Should I have deciphered the hidden meanings? Or was she simply yearning for a fleeting moment of emotional reprieve from the harshness of her reality? Could you please clarify what you mean by that? I typed, my heart racing wildly in my chest. She paused, her heart racing, before finally finding the courage to respond. I'm not sure, Jack. I long for someone who truly sees me, who recognizes my existence, and who brings that spark of life back into my soul. It feels like an eternity since I last experienced that feeling. I lingered in that moment, the weight of her message pulling me in, as I read it repeatedly, each word echoing in my heart. So many emotions lingered unspoken in the silence between the lines. I was completely at a loss for how to respond. In that moment, my heart ached for her. This was never meant to be happening. She was bound in marriage. I was merely her employee. I found myself lost, unsure of what the right choice truly was. Yet, there was one thing I was certain of. A change was beginning to stir within me, and I felt the weight of its allure growing stronger, leaving me uncertain of how much longer I could hold back against its call. I responded, making an effort to maintain a cheerful tone. Ellie, you truly deserve to be seen and cherished. Every single person does. Perhaps the most profound way to begin is by turning your attention inward, nurturing the very things that bring you joy. I placed my phone gently on the table and exhaled deeply, yearning for that to be the moment the conversation would finally come to a close for the night. Yet, as I continued, it dawned on me that this had transformed into something far deeper than a mere friendly exchange. This was truly extraordinary. And despite my deepest desires to push it away, I couldn't escape the truth. I knew things were only going to become more tangled from this point forward. The week that followed was nothing short of tumultuous, leaving a lingering sense of unease. After Ellie's last message, an unsettling feeling gripped me, as if we were teetering on the edge of something we couldn't take back. I had always kept a careful distance from her, never allowing myself to imagine the possibility of anything beyond a professional connection. Yet, with every day that slipped by, that line appeared to drift further into the distance. Our nightly texts blossomed into heartfelt exchanges, growing longer, more intimate, and more frequent with each passing day. The subjects remained wonderfully diverse. There were moments when we'd discuss work, and other times when we'd reflect on our days, but increasingly, Ellie began to unveil fragments of her life, intimate pieces of herself that took me by surprise. As our conversations grew more profound, I couldn't help but feel the weight of her longing for someone to truly hear her. A person who genuinely grasped my feelings. On that fateful Thursday evening, she sent a message that shattered my sense of certainty and left me questioning everything I thought I knew. "Jack, I can't quite explain it, but I feel like I'm drowning in this overwhelming weight. After nearly 2 decades of marriage to Nathan, it feels as though we inhabit entirely separate realms. He's constantly consumed by work, perpetually lost in a whirlwind of tasks and distractions. It hurts to think that I might have faded from his world. There are moments when I find myself merely going through the motions, wearing a mask of normalcy while deep down, everything feels far from okay." As I absorbed her words, an overwhelming wave of sympathy washed over me. I was completely unaware of the profound sadness she carried within her. In my eyes, she was always the epitome of grace and poise, a woman who seemed effortlessly composed and perfectly put together. A person who seemed to have everything perfectly in hand. Yet, this version of Ellie, the one filled with pain and yearning for a connection, revealed a depth of her I had never encountered before. I had been so cautious until this moment, striving to stay neutral and supportive, desperately hoping to prevent everything from spiraling out of control. Yet, as I read her message, a part of me shattered within. Her pain became impossible to overlook. "My heart aches knowing you're feeling this way, Ellie," I replied, my fingers dancing swiftly across the keyboard. "You've been shouldering so much on your own, but remember, you don't have to face it all by yourself. I will always be here for you, no matter what." I took a moment to breathe after hitting send, my heart pounding in my chest. It struck a chord deep within, feeling overwhelmingly intimate and achingly near. Yet, there was no way to undo what had been done. Her reply arrived in an instant, filling me with anticipation. "Thank you so much, Jack. Life feels unimaginable without you by my side. You truly make me feel understood. You've become the one person I can truly open up to after such a long time." I found myself frozen, captivated by the weight of her words. Could it be that she was trying to convey something deeper? Could this have been something deeper than mere emotional support? I fought to banish the thought from my mind, yet it stubbornly remained, an unwelcome guest that refused to leave. We were stepping into a realm that filled me with a sense of foreboding, a place I knew deep down I should never allow myself to enter. But then, she sent another message that sent a wave of anxiety through me. My mind has been consumed with thoughts about it. Perhaps it sounds a bit wild, but I truly yearn to experience that spark of life once more, you understand? I long to experience something, anything that breaks through this overwhelming numbness. And I find myself lost in thought. How profoundly different would our lives be if circumstances had taken another path? What if we could transcend the boundaries of mere late-night messages and become something truly profound? The words struck me with the force of a gut-wrenching blow. My heart raced wildly within my chest. This had transformed into something far more significant than a mere exchange of words. She was stepping over a boundary, one that filled me with uncertainty about whether I should even consider it. I gazed at the screen for what felt like an eternity, my heart heavy with uncertainty about how to reply. Thoughts surged through my mind like a whirlwind. I could sense her deep unhappiness in her marriage, yet I found it impossible to overlook the reality that she was still bound by those vows. And she was the wife of my boss. I felt completely lost in this situation, unsure of how to find my way through it. Yet, I couldn't ignore the deep yearning I felt for her as well. I inhaled deeply, fingers hovering over the keys, striving to maintain my composure and professionalism amidst the swirling emotions. "Ellie, I can only imagine the whirlwind of emotions you're experiencing at this moment. It might be time to pause and deeply reflect on what truly resonates with your heart. I can see that you're feeling really down, but jumping into a new relationship right now might not truly be the solution you need. True happiness is your birthright, but it must blossom from the depths of your own heart, not be sought in the embrace of another." I placed the phone gently on the table and let out a deep, weary breath. Doubt lingered in my mind about whether those words were truly right, yet they seemed to be the only path I could take. I gently reminded her that she must choose for herself, not swayed by passing feelings or the warmth of a late-night chat. Yet, just a few moments later, Ellie's next message arrived, filling the air with anticipation. "I hear you, Jack, but there are moments when it feels like I've exhausted every possible choice I could make. I've reached out to Nathan, but he feels so distant, like he's just not present anymore. He's turning a deaf ear. And truthfully, I feel incredibly isolated in this marriage. I long for someone who truly sees me, who cherishes my worth." Her words resonated with a desperate plea, and I felt compelled to respond. Her voice was heavy with pain and laced with regret, pulling me in deeper with every word. Yet, deep down, I understood that I had to maintain my distance. I had to hold firm to the boundaries I set. Being the voice of reason weighed heavily on my heart, yet I knew it was a burden I had to bear, no matter how difficult it felt. "I understand, Ellie. No matter what unfolds, remember that your well-being must come first. You are worthy of so much more than being overlooked. Please take a moment to really consider everything, alright? The strength to transform your circumstances lies within you, but the journey must begin with your own resolve." As I pressed send, a profound heaviness settled in my chest, an ache that lingered in the air. But just as I was about to set my phone aside, I noticed the 3 little dots appearing, signaling that she was pouring her thoughts into words. "I absolutely will. Thank you so much, Jack. Your support has truly meant the world to me. Life feels unimaginable without you by my side." Her words lingered in the air, and I found myself captivated by their weight. Did I truly make a difference for her? Or was I merely allowing her to tread a path from which I feared we might never find our way back? In that moment, uncertainty enveloped me, yet one truth pierced through the chaos: I had never felt so utterly torn apart in my entire life. The days that followed my final conversation with Ellie passed in a haze, each moment slipping through my fingers like sand. I struggled to banish the memories of her from my thoughts. I convinced myself it was merely a momentary spark, something that would eventually fade away. Yet, it never came to be. Instead of fading, it only intensified, the tension between us growing deeper with every night that slipped away. Ellie's messages came pouring in more often now, and I couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement each time I saw her name light up on my screen. It had become so much more than those cherished late-night conversations. She had this incredible ability to make me feel truly seen, cherished, and significant in a way that had eluded me for far too long. Yet, with every message exchanged, I felt us teetering on the edge of a boundary that, once crossed, would forever change everything. As soon as I stepped through the door after a long day at work on Monday, my phone buzzed with her message. "My heart aches for her conversations, Jack. You are the one person who truly hears me. Nathan is constantly away, and the emptiness I feel is overwhelming. I'm not sure why I'm sharing this with you. I feel utterly overwhelmed." Her words struck me with an overwhelming sense of urgency. The fragility in her voice resonated deeply within me. She was expressing the profound ache of loneliness that enveloped her, stemming from being married to a man who seemed to overlook her very existence. This was a profound yearning, a cry for something more, something truly essential. I experienced it as well. "You are not losing your mind, Ellie. You've been carrying so much on your shoulders lately. Yet, sharing our thoughts can truly make a difference, can't it?" It was the familiar dance of emotions, her pouring her heart out to me while I struggled to maintain a sense of professionalism. Yet, with each layer she revealed, I found myself increasingly aware of the depth of my feelings for her. Deep down, I struggled to face the reality, but the truth was undeniable. My heart was deeply entwined in this, and I realized that if I didn't tread carefully, I might find myself trapped in a situation with no escape. That night, just as I was preparing to drift off to sleep, Ellie sent me another message. "I've been reflecting on your words about self-care, and it hits me hard. I realize I haven't truly been prioritizing myself. I've devoted my life to Nathan and to everyone around me, yet I've forgotten to live for myself. In my relentless pursuit to bring him joy and maintain harmony, I've lost sight of my own identity, and now I'm left feeling utterly lost and unsure of my next steps. That night, I found myself awake, lost in the depths of her words. It was evident that she was fighting an uphill battle. The echoes of her confusion and pain resonated through the words she typed, each message a haunting reflection of her turmoil. I understood that I couldn't mend this situation, yet deep down, I felt an undeniable urge to be there for her, to not abandon her in her time of need. Ellie, you must remember that you can't give your all when you're running on empty. It's time to rediscover who you truly are, but tread lightly on this journey. Making decisions in a moment of desperation can lead to choices you'll regret later. You are worthy of so much more than that. I placed my phone aside, yearning for sleep, yet the words echoed in my thoughts, refusing to fade away. What was I even doing? She held the title of my boss's wife. I found myself needing to hold back, to create a space between us. I had to resist the pull of this overwhelming situation. The following morning at work, Ellie sat in silence, her demeanor heavy with unspoken thoughts. The moment she stepped into the office, I felt a shift in the air. A weight hung in the air, and I sensed that something was deeply amiss. I struggled to concentrate on my tasks, yet each time my eyes fell on her, a wave of curiosity washed over me, leaving me to ponder the thoughts swirling in her mind. Could it be that she was thinking of me? Reflecting on the heartfelt conversations we shared? Did she feel a pang of regret for having opened her heart? During lunch, I caught myself gazing at my phone far too frequently, lost in its glow. With each buzz, my heart raced, yearning for it to be her, but each time, it wasn't. Though I hesitated to confess it, my heart was longing for her message to arrive. I had been yearning for it. At long last, after what seemed like an endless wait, my phone flickered to life. Her name appeared on the screen, and in that moment, my heart raced with an overwhelming surge of emotion. Is it possible for us to have a conversation later? I really need someone to share my thoughts with. I feel lost and uncertain about my next steps. I gazed at the message, my heart racing as I took in every word. Thoughts swirled chaotically in my mind. A powerful pull enveloped me, urging me to dive deeper into the unknown. Deep down, I understood that reconnecting with her might lead to trouble, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that her call for me was something I had to acknowledge. She placed her trust in me, and in many ways, I found myself relying on her for that very trust. Absolutely, Ellie. I'm right here, present and ready. Whenever you're ready, just give me a sign. I pressed send and leaned back in my chair, my mind swirling with a whirlwind of emotions. What was unfolding within me? For so long, I poured every ounce of my energy into my career, prioritizing professionalism above all else. But now, it seemed as though everything was fading into the distance. I found myself slipping deeper into her world, and the uncertainty of how to pull away filled me with a sense of dread. As the day dragged on, I struggled to concentrate on my work, but my mind kept wandering back to Ellie, pulling at my heart with every fleeting thought. She had transformed from merely being my boss's wife into something far more significant in my life. She was a person who held a special place in my heart, someone I deeply cherished and felt profoundly connected to. And that filled me with fear. As the clock struck 8 p.m., my phone vibrated once more, stirring a mix of anticipation and curiosity within me. Would it be possible for us to meet? I long to see you. I've been reflecting deeply on all that we share. The word sent a shiver down my spine. Our story. It was beyond anything I could have ever imagined, and yet, somehow, it felt destined to happen. The limits we once established had faded away, leaving us adrift in a sea of uncertainty. I replied, my fingers quivering with a mix of anticipation and anxiety as I typed. Where could it possibly be? She replied in an instant. What do you think about that charming little cafe close to your home? I can't wait to see you in just 30 minutes. In that moment, I felt an undeniable certainty wash over me. In that moment, I realized that after tonight, everything would change forever. I found myself torn, uncertain whether it was a blessing or a curse. Yet, I was on the brink of discovery. As I slipped on my jacket and stepped out the door, an unsettling feeling washed over me, whispering that I was about to make a choice I could deeply regret. Yet, in that moment, I found it impossible to feel anything at all. As I sat at the table in the cozy little cafe, my heart raced with every fleeting moment. Ellie was still on her way, and though she hadn't arrived yet, I could feel the anticipation building within me. The burden of my choices pressed down on my heart, a heavy reminder of the paths I had taken. Tonight would transform everything. I was fully aware of the reality of the situation. Gone are the days of veiled conversations and secretive looks exchanged in the workplace. It was finally going to be real. As she stepped through the door, the worry in her eyes was unmistakable. Yet, beneath it all, there was something more profound lingering in the shadows. It felt as though a heavy weight had been released, or perhaps she was finally embracing the freedom of being completely vulnerable, genuinely vulnerable. In all my days, I had never witnessed her in this light before. She approached the table, took a seat, and fell into a heavy silence for a few moments. Her fingers nervously danced with the napkin before her. Her eyes were distant, as if she were wandering through a maze of her own thoughts. But when our gazes finally locked, time seemed to freeze, and the universe faded away, leaving just the two of us in that fleeting moment. "I don't know what I'm doing, Jack," she whispered, her voice quivering with uncertainty. "Fear grips my heart. For all the years I've shared with Nathan, it feels like he's always been just out of reach, never truly present for me. For far too long, I've worn a mask, convincing myself and others that everything is okay, but deep down, I know it's not. And now, after all this time spent talking to you, I can no longer hide the depth of my feelings." I let out a deep breath, striving to find my center once more. This was incredibly challenging, and a part of me yearned to just give up right here and now. I could turn my back on this, convince myself it was merely a fleeting distraction, yet a deeper part of me yearned to hold on. I couldn't bring myself to deny the deep connection that had been blossoming between us. My heart was devoted to her. "Text, I truly care about you, Ellie," I whispered, my voice filled with genuine emotion. Yet, this is far from simple. We are more than just two souls intertwined in a relationship. You are bound in marriage. Your life is a precious gift. A life I cannot simply intrude upon without facing the repercussions. I truly wish to spare you and everyone else from any pain. I won't pretend that I'm not overwhelmed by all of this, but there's one thing I hold on to with certainty. I never want to be the cause of choices that could lead to your regret. Her eyes filled with warmth as she absorbed my words. It felt as if she was finally embracing the truth, and for the very first time, she allowed it to wash over her instead of pushing it away. "I've already made my decision, Jack," she said, her voice unwavering yet filled with a deep resolve. "I've lost the joy in my marriage. I've been clinging to a fragile illusion that doesn't truly exist. And I understand that this journey will be far from simple. The truth may be painful, but I can no longer wear this mask of pretense. I've had a conversation with Nathan already. I'm taking the painful step of filing for divorce. It's finally over." The words lingered in the air, thick with an overwhelming sense of closure. It had become a reality now. She was delving deep into emotions, exploring the raw essence of what could be. She had made a choice that forever altered her path. While a part of me yearned for relief, another part was engulfed in profound turmoil. I was completely taken aback by her decision tonight. Yet, here she stood, risking it all. I'm at a loss for words. I stumbled over my words. "Ellie, do you really mean it? This is such a monumental decision you're facing. I never want to be the reason that makes you feel you need to walk away from him. If you're doing this for my sake, it just doesn't feel right to me. It's essential for you to truly understand the depth of what this signifies." With a steady gaze, she nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "I have no doubt. For what feels like an eternity, I've been trapped in the shadows of a life that isn't truly mine. Before you entered my life, I was lost in a world devoid of true joy. This isn't about you, Jack. It's about something deeper, something that goes beyond just us. This is my story. About embracing the power to shape my own destiny. The choices I've made. For far too long, I've allowed fear to keep me from moving forward. But I just can't carry on any longer. I inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the moment settle around me. Everything was unfolding in a whirlwind, yet there was no turning back for me now. She had chosen her path, and it was my duty to stand by her side. Even if it meant confronting a future shrouded in uncertainty. I'm always here for you, no matter what. Ellie, I whispered softly. Anything your heart desires. But please understand, my desire for this comes from a place of genuine intention. We must both feel deep within our hearts that this is the life we truly desire. I promise I won't exploit what you're going through. I refuse to allow this to become a source of regret for us. Ellie's lips formed a delicate, sorrowful smile. I understand. And I have faith in you. We lingered in silence for what felt like an eternity, allowing the heaviness of the moment to sink in. The air enveloped us, heavy and suffocating, yet amidst it all, a profound sense of relief washed over us. The uncertainty of the future weighed heavily on my heart. Yet, for the first time in what feels like ages, it no longer appeared so terrifying. We were both yearning for a transformation. Though the path ahead may be challenging, our hearts are united in the promise to confront it side by side. As the evening unfolded and we parted ways from the cafe, Ellie reached out to me with one final message. A heartbreaking decision to file for divorce. It's finally over. I am finally free. I yearn for a new beginning with you, Jack. It's time to step into the light. It's time to be real. I found myself reading the message repeatedly, each time feeling its weight more profoundly. The heaviness of her words settling deep within me. This truly happened. There was no way to go back now. The upcoming months were filled with their fair share of trials and tribulations. Ellie faced the heavy burden of navigating the aftermath of her divorce. I had to confront the painful reality that our relationship would be under the watchful eyes of everyone around us. Yet, it was all in vain. We had one another, and together we were creating something beautiful and fresh. A dream we both longed for. We departed the country shortly thereafter, embracing a new beginning in a place where our history remained a secret. The new beginning was a dream come true, surpassing all our hopes and expectations. It was far from perfect. It simply wasn't destined to happen. Yet, in one another, we discovered a profound joy that filled our hearts. In that moment, nothing else held significance. We were truly free. United as one. And that was more than enough.